Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the other side of the wormhole. Basically, what didn't make it in the episode of the But Why Though podcast. So we do all these podcasts, obviously, about a variety of topics, and some of these topics are just large, and I mean, they want to talk about all. If any of you that ever listened to us know that we've done like Fast and the Furious, which has 8 movies, Dragon Ball Z, which has been around for like 15 years. So trying to squeeze all the various information and stuff to talk about into like basically 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes can be very tricky. So what I want to do for this segment was, I guess, try to talk about things that were not in the episode, that just didn't make it, either for time reasons, either we didn't feel it were as important, or such. So that's why I decided to do it. And so it's kind of like Wormhole. Plus, when we do research for these things, I mean, you just start looking up everything. And I mean, you can start with one moment, you're looking, Dragon Ball Z, what the dates were. The next thing you know, you're on Sailor Moon somehow, wondering, like, comparing animes and looking at random dates of when they came out. Which is we did 2 episodes on each of them, but they're 2 different random topics. And there's a bunch of tangent topics as well. I'm one of the hosts. If you haven't heard me before, my name is Matt. I'm the host, Matt, obviously. And I'll be talking about a lot of these things here. In here, I'll probably give you my thoughts, like my additional information from my research thing, because obviously I'm the one talking. I'll also answer any questions if anybody actually shows up to listen to these, or if you want to. I hope people do. I want to encourage people to do. I want this interaction, great for feedback as well, for us, so we know what we're doing well and what we need to work on as well. And just if we happen to miss something. There's sometimes we honestly, just between all the material, we miss things. We feel bad. We also want to go through, because this will be taking place after all of our episodes. And so, in case like things happen during the time frame, either when our episode we record and 3 days later something happens, or an episode we recorded a month ago and then something huge happened in that topic, and so we can go back and revise that, or either revise it or just like talk about it. Also talk about how I feel about these episodes. Like, what did I enjoy the episode, what I liked about the episode, maybe some of the stuff I didn't agree that I can just kind of dive into more, and maybe some of the tangent topics about these episodes. We did a Bill Nye episode. Much as Bill Nye talked about a lot of, political type things in science, some of the stuff I actually want to talk about the actual, per se, science, and what I know about the actual topic itself, and some of the shows that he had that we touched on a little bit, but we didn't have the time frame to dive into in a more, deeper level. Reason I call it the wormhole, because I like the word wormhole. But basically, the definition, there's a lot of technical definitions, but the one I'm going with to use for why I came up with the name of the other side of the wormhole is, you guys all see the podcast already edited, released. We sound great and whatnot, but when we record sometimes and how things go, it doesn't always sound like that. Not even close sometimes. We have a great editor, for one. Ace of Big Mountain does an amazing job. Let y'all know that. Between adding everything, making us sound great. But basically, it's a definition of going with the hypothetical tunnel through space and time that connects widely distant regions. So you guys see the finished product. I'm going to kind of give you, the stuff that we all had, the information that you didn't get to see, you didn't get to hear, or sometimes they got left out, and whatnot. So that'd be, what we're going to do with this segment. All these segments, it's called, they're going to be, I don't know, however long I ask, or I feel like talking. I'm not going to try to make it maybe a full new show, depending on what we talk about, and depending, how much interaction and what people think and enjoy. If you want to get involved in these in any way, you can hit us up on one of our social media aspects. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook. I think that's all we are on as far as social media. We all actually have our own individual ones, which you can find. Oh, we have our own website, obviously, which is going back and forth. Man, not bad. I forgot our own website. If I sound a little bad, nervous, this is probably the first time doing something like this for me, I guess. So we're just going to work through the kinks together through the first few, I guess, episodes of me just talking. So, I don't know. So we'll have to see how it goes. Occasionally, it's going to be mostly me talking. I have if you look to this left of the screen, I guess it'd be your left or right, I'm not sure. I believe it's your left. There is a game up, the music up. I may occasionally play a game of Hearthstone while we're talking. It helps me, like, I guess, relax and just think clear. Maybe continue my thoughts and go through stuff. So that way I'm not just, like, sitting there, like, just yelling or something or getting really intense or just get confused and tongue-tied. It gives me, I guess, a release, per se, to do something else. It won't be up long, so it won't be a lot of game playing, but, you know, maybe occasionally throw a game in every now and then. Maybe if I need some water and whatnot. So, yeah. So, whew. Yeah, I'm already talking a lot. It's only been like 8 minutes. Also, these videos will be placed on our YouTube channel, which we have a YouTube channel. And it's hardly used, but if you don't know, we do post all of our episodes on the YouTube, so you can listen. This one will always have video content along to go with the audio, and on our website, which we'll end up making a specific page for all of our, I guess, episode quote-unquote recaps or segments that I decided to do with this and whatnot. So I'm gonna start off with, I guess the first segment the pilot segment before I break up into anything. For those of you who have not been following the podcast for a while, I was not a host for the entire time. So obviously, excuse me, I will be writing down timestamps as well to make this easier since we are cutting this in and out as well. So kind of like what I'm doing. So I will be writing, so if I look down. Sorry about that. I'm still getting the hang of this, so just bear with me for this first one. This one's going to be definitely a little rough around the edges. But I'm going to go into, I guess, a little bit about me, I guess. So my name's Matt. I'm one of the hosts. I've only been a host for about a month. If you've been with the whole podcast, as I've said before, I was not always a host. I've always been involved with the podcast. Obviously, I am the main host and creator, Kate's significant other. So I've been in the background doing a lot of the numbers, the budgeting. Not much to budget, but, you know, we need to, I guess, any other ideas, and he set up a lot of the other stuff that you wouldn't think you would need to do a podcast. I was doing that for a while. Obviously, we ran into some, I guess, host issues and whatnot. I'm going to try not to go into all of those and what all happened there, what to say. Stuff happens, it is what it is. You have more, feel free to, I guess, ask at another time. Ask me at another time. And I go into that. So when I talk about the episodes, I'll probably only be talking about the ones that I have done so far. And it started with, I guess I was a host. My very first recording was the DreamHack recap, because I went to DreamHack. So that was my very first recording. So that'll probably be the first one I will start with, and then obviously I'll move from there on out. So probably, I guess that was April 30th or something like that, I believe, when that was recorded. End of April, beginning of May, something like that. So about a month. So we'll go into why did I do this? Like I said, I started it. I was supportive of Kate. We had host issues. We needed a host, and so we kind of needed somebody to fill in. Obviously, it wasn't the first choice in the first place. We had other choices. Actually, wasn't even the second choice. But you know, I guess it was my turn to be called, and I didn't mind doing it. I'm a little nervous to figure out because this is obviously not my typical thing to do. Basically, I like to work alone, so doing this whole podcast thing wasn't the number one priority, I guess, or like wasn't, I guess, seemed like it was up my alley for the most part. So, but I ended up doing it. I'm here now. So, yeah. Basically, so we need another host, like I said, and so then we called in Asa, our editor, as good as he is, and he's very interesting and great guy. We hope to finally one day eventually get him to, like, everybody can hear, I guess, his voice and what he has to say, because he has a lot of good stuff to say as well, but he also lives in Europe. So it's kind of hard for him to then, I guess, us all to get on the same time scale, since he's, or schedule, since he's 6 hour difference. So, by the time we're getting home, he's going to bed. When we wake up to go to work, he's having lunch. So it's kind of a little hard. So, but anyways, and so when we're moving forward, we figured the easiest person to do was for me. So I stepped in, decided to do this. So far, over the course of the month, it's been pretty fun. I've had kind of a lot of fun doing this. It's not seemed to be too hard. I've learned quite a few things. We're doing more things here, I guess. Also, we've had to research quite a bit of topics that I may have been familiar with, but then a lot of topics that I'm not so familiar with, which I'll kind of go over when we start going over the episodes. You'll be able to clearly tell what I'm interested in and what well, not necessarily interested in, what I more know versus what I do not know and I've had to learn. Which is one of the main things that I will end up pointing out in one of these things is, like, whether you know something or don't know something, showing interest in what you're doing when you show up here and when you record may be a must. And I guess that's just something you should always do with whatever you're doing. If you are on a podcast and you end up being, and it's a variety podcast, and it's something that you are not interested in or something that you have known nothing about, well, you still need to show up and act like you know 100% of stuff you're talking about, or to show that you're interested in learning 100% of stuff that's being said. Because you can really tell, I guess, from me listening to, other types of stuff, that you can really, you can tell in people's voices when they're not interested in talking or wanting to be there, per se. And so, so yeah, we've had a few episodes. I've had fun doing it. Not much. I guess a little bit about myself, I guess, for the bio, for those of you. I think I just now get my bio up on the website. So, I mean, you can either go read it or I'll just tell you right away what it is now. Why not? My role is I'm a host. I'm also the numbers guy. I do have a numbers background. Like, if you haven't learned, I do have a master's degree in biology, mainly focused in plants, so more of a botanist. I know that has nothing to do with numbers, but I also do have a minor in mathematics. So yeah, I do have some, so you'll definitely see a lot of that probably come out within the episodes from me, and you clearly tell, I guess. My favorite superhero / I guess super team, I guess is what they say, is I'm gonna go with Spider-Man. My favorite superhero. I've always enjoyed Peter Parker. Hoping that one day we'll have an episode over Spider-Man. Obviously, I'm sure we will with the movie coming out here in a few months and whatnot. Kind of excited, kind of a little weary. We'll find out. Favorite comic book, I guess, would also be Spider-Man. As far as a manga and some of the anime they do, I don't really watch a lot of anime. I'm not saying I've never have, but I've never had one where I just fully invested amount of time, especially compared to some of our other hosts that just know the stuff like the back of their hand. Me, it's I've seen some episodes, seen it, and whatnot. I guess this would also be anime more of cartoon anime, because I don't know how they classify, the adult cartoons per se, like Family Guy and American Dad, and I guess some of the Rick and Morty, and I guess Adult Swim type cartoons. I've seen a lot of those. But I guess your Japanese anime type shows I have not watched as much. Video game and franchises. First and foremost, I loved NCAA football. I enjoy sports a lot. I played a lot of sports growing up. I watch a lot of sports. I know a lot of sports. So we probably will, now that I'm on here, and Adrian, another co-host, is also like sports. We've kind of slowly introduced sports a little bit into this podcast. We didn't have it before for said reasons. Yeah. But we'll probably interject a little bit of sports. I know we've been live tweeting a lot of the NBA finals. We'll probably have we actually have an NBA final episode releasing. That'll be released on, I believe, let me look at the date, make sure I get this right. As of today, which is when this is recorded, it will be released on June 7th, 2017. So, depending on when you watch this video, that's when it will be released. It may or may not be out by then. I was very sad when that franchise finally got taken out by, I guess, all the court hearings and lawsuits by the lovely Ed Bannon from UCLA. Yeah. Maybe we'll have an episode on that. Be very entertaining. Also, but my other franchise is I love Bethesda Studios, and I guess their two franchises. Their main one of Elder Scrolls, I really enjoy. Probably been my favorite for the longest time. probably Morrowind, The Elder Scrolls 3, which is actually, people actually don't remember that one. It's very popular. Actually, they're now releasing a Morrowind for the Elder Scrolls Online expansion that will be released on June 6th of next week as well, I guess, from the time this released. Wasn't a big fan of Oblivion. Didn't care for Oblivion. It was cool. Liked it. They dumbed it down. I think the franchise, unfortunately, has been being dumbed down quite a bit, especially compared to the Morrowind days where you basically need to pay attention. If you didn't pay attention, you were either going to die or get lost. Definitely didn't hold your hand that much. Of course, a lot of games have trended that way over the years. I did enjoy Skyrim. I played a lot of Elder Scrolls Online. I know it's a little different. People have the problems. They've had problems. The community's a little weird. I actually enjoy the game. I think it's a great MMO in a lot of aspects. Because one, you can play it by yourself and enjoy a lot of things by yourself. Especially towards the end game. That basically a lot of MMOs, once you hit max level, there's not a lot you can do unless you have a guild. So if you don't have a lot of friends to play with, you basically get bored and you're out. Or you have to find a bunch of random people. In this game, there's still a lot of like stuff you can do solo player, as long as with you're in a guild, per se. So I enjoyed that. But they do miss a lot of MMO aspects. It's weird. The community there is weird. It's a bunch of single player people complaining about them trying to put MMO aspects into an MMO game. From what I've seemed to fail. I guess, yeah. Top 5 fandoms, I guess, is what we have on the website as well. Mine were, I guess I had Bethesda or ESO. Or Elder Scrolls, I guess would be more. I did play Fallout. I forgot to mention this one, I guess. But I played Fallout 3 and 4. Not so much 1 or 2. I also didn't really play New Vegas. I had it, watched it. I mean, I know it's not made by them, but still. But I enjoy them. They're different types. They're a different type. But still the same concept. Pretty cool. Not quite as RPG as I guess I would like. But still quite very fun to play. Very addicting as well. A lot of these games are addicting. Obviously, I went over NCAA. I also like, you might hear, especially if you listen to Bill Nye, Brian Cox. He has at least like 4 different shows that are basically documentary, miniseries type shows. They're called like Wonders of. There's like the Wonders of the Universe, the Wonders of the Solar System, the Wonders of Earth, I believe is the next one. And I think there's one more. He also has a few other shows. Have you ever heard of Curiosity Stream, which is like Netflix but for science and documentaries? They're all on there. He has a lot of stuff on there as well. Brian Cox is a rock star. He's awesome. Goals be like him. Another fandom I guess we've had. For the TV show House. Saw every episode. It's the only show I actually ever bought DVDs for. Only about the first like 3 seasons, so stuff expensive, man. Like, so like, man, why not you pay like $80 to watch a new season? Especially nowadays where you can find everything. Yeah. Watched all that stuff and whatnot. Favorite film franchise. Favorite film. We're just gonna go with my favorite film. Love Jurassic Park. New movies are cool, great, but then we'll touch the first one. Doesn't matter. And then top 5 music. We don't have top 5. I listen to a lot of variety music, I guess. Don't really care for country so much. But I listen to it every now and then, I guess. Depends on the mood. It's really weird. But my favorite artist would probably be Filter. Richard Patrick does a great job. Enjoy Richard Patrick. He's getting old though now. Still very good. But that's a little bit about my bio and whatnot. About my thoughts. Obviously you'll be hearing and seeing a lot more of me. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing yet. We'll find out. Hoping good, but we'll see. You've already met the other 2 hosts and whatnot, Kate and Adrian, who are still on the show and what we're doing. So we'll be us 3 making our way. So I think that'll be about the wrap up for this episode, or a segment, I guess, of the other side of the wormhole. That was more of a why I'm doing this segment, what this segment's about, and I guess meeting, me as a new host and whatnot. So, yeah.